Hey, welcome back to the shop. All right, today we're working on this BMW. It's a 17750. We're doing a water pump. Customer requested that we do one. He had a sensor bad on it, and he said, while we're in there, the sensor's on the pump, we might as well go ahead and replace the water pump and thermostat while we're in there. So his request, that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna get this thing on the rack and try to get some coolant out of it, because from the research that I've done, there's not a good way to drain the coolant out. So you start taking the reservoir off and the hoses off, it starts leaking and making a mess everywhere. So we're gonna get it up in the air and see. I'm just gonna double check that there's not another way to drain it, and we're gonna go from there and we'll start tearing this thing down. Okay, I got the skid plates down, or dust covers, or whatever you want to call them. You can see that there's a little diaper that's built in from the factory, and it's pretty wet. And if you look up above where it was wet, that's where the water pump's at, and that's the thermostat housing that's bolted to the side, and the hose coming off of it. It's pretty nasty looking. Looks like it's been seeping for a little while, so we're replacing that stuff when we get in there. All right, since we don't have a drain, we're gonna suck it out through this reservoir. This thing's got two reservoirs, one there, there's air compressor, one there. We're gonna suck it out of both of them. All right, we're gonna try to pop this panel out of the way so we'll have some room to work here. Boy, they make these things fun. Now you get the plastic cover off, now you gotta take this aluminum panel off of these braces out of your way. These cars, man. Overcomplicated. Well, I got to looking at it a little closer, and I really didn't even need to take this plastic piece off, I don't think, because I'm going in through here. So I'm taking this reservoir out of the way, taking these hoses off, taking the alternator out, because the water pump's basically down below that alternator. So I really don't think I need to take any of this off. I probably didn't even need to take the plastic piece off, but I'm gonna leave it off for right now, just in case I gotta take these braces off. I don't know if I need to do that yet or not. I don't think I do. But the way they do all these hoses, they're not reusable clamps, so you got to cut all these clamps off and go back with hose clamps. So we'll have to do that. I have to come up with a bunch of clamps for anything that I cut off. So we got to try to do this strategically, where we don't cut off too many clamps that we don't need to. Nice that they make their hose clamps not reusable, huh? Okay, so I'm working on this tank. I have not taken this piece off yet. I'm hoping I don't have to. There's one hose on this side right here, which is hard to see, two on this side, and they have these little clips, and you got to go down in and pop them up, and then take your big screwdriver and walk them off the tank. Well, then it doesn't leave you enough room to slide it off the brackets. It's got these little push tabs on each side that locks it to this bracket. There's one on each side, and it doesn't give you enough room to slide it off, which is awesome. So I'm hoping I can take the bolts out here and here and on top of the alternator and lift the whole thing off like that, like, you know, straight up. That's what I'm hoping. We'll see what happens. So I'm gonna work on getting the bolts out of this bracket. There's a bracket that goes on top of this alternator, and it's holding that on. So I'll work on getting that off. Hopefully I don't have to take all these lines off. That's kind of what it's looking like, though. There may be enough flex in them to get that out without removing too many of them. Plus I cut my hand open, which is great. And all this dirt is like sticky dirt. It's like it doesn't come off. You gotta like scrub it off. I don't know if it's like tire shine where they've been detailing the motor. mixed with dust and crap from over the years, but it's nasty. Okay, so far cut the clamp off here just like this one. They're band clamps that are put on at the factory. I had to cut it off. I had to put a regular hose clamp back on. Had to take this hose off so I can get to this bracket bolt here. There's 4 of them. I could get to 3 of them. I could move this hose over and get to those 2, but I could not with this plastic deal, so I had to get that out of the way. There was a quick connect fitting there from that hose and regular old band clamps there, worm type. So I'm gonna pop this off. Hopefully I can get this bracket out easy, and then I can get the tank out, and then we can try to get to the serpentine belt and the alternator, get that out of there. Okay, so I've got the alternator out. Just got it all the way out of there, get it out of the way. I'm gonna try to roll that belt tensioner, which is down there. I'm trying to, you can pin it to pin the tension off of it. It is not easy to get to. I mean, these cars are crazy difficult to work on, in my opinion. I'm not used to working on stuff like this all the time. I really don't care for it. Anyway, I'm gonna try to get the belt tensioner loose. I may take it all the way out of there, but I'm gonna try to pin it first. Pin the pressure off of it. There's a little bit of corrosion on this pipe that's coming from the turbo. Now it's wet for one reason, because I took coolant hoses off back in the back, so I've got a rubber glove over my alternator cable because it's still hot, even though I've got this battery unhooked. There's another battery somewhere that's not unhooked, so this still has a charge on it. It's still live, so I'm trying not to arc that on anything. All right, fun. Okay, so here's your new water pump. You've got a hose here, quick connect. Got a hose here with a 30 Torx bit holding on, and it's in an angle. It's curved like a banana into it, so you can't get a socket up into there. At least not mine. Mine won't fit. Then you got thermostat bolts on this side, quick connect, and then you got that sensor, right? Okay, so there's, I had to put a, see it? So I'm gonna try to break that loose, that pipe. Yeah, it broke loose okay, but it's not easy to get to. I'm leaving the belt tensioner in there. I have seen where you can pin those. This one I do not see a hole where you can pin it, like where you can get the belt off and then apply tension. So this thing, man, this thing is hard. This is skill level 10. Unless you're used to this shit, then it might be a 1. But for me, sorry, I'm a mess. For me, man, I wish I'd have said no to this job, to be honest with you. Wish I would have just said no, but need the money, so I have to do stupid shit like this sometimes. You've got the money, don't, and this is, you own one of these cars, well, sell it for one. Second, these things are supposed to be bad about rod bearings letting go at like 70 to 80,000 miles. That's terrible. So these engines are not known for longevity at all. This is a 4.4 twin turbo V8 BMW. So anyway, if you're going to try to do this at home in the garage, I mean, I'm not saying you can't do it, but it's not easy. Sitting an LS water pump or 4-liter Jeep water pump, or, I mean, this is a difficult job. Not easy, not fun to me, at least. Hey, it might be fun to you, but it's not to me. I'm gonna show you how to do it anyway. I don't know if you take pleasure out of this, but it's pain to me, not pleasure. Okay, so Had to take the intercooler off of this side. I don't know if I'll have to take that one off or not. I don't think I will. I got that pipe unclipped, but it won't come off the dang thermostat. And got this upper pipe unbolted, but I couldn't slide it out far enough to get to the top bolt, or I'm sorry, the bottom bolt. I'll show you on this new pump. It sits in there like this. So the thermostat is hanging off here, and this hose that's coming on here has got a quick connect clip thing, and I've got it popped up, but it won't slide off. It's stuck. I've got this bolt out, and this pipe slid back, but I was having trouble getting to this one. This pipe does not look like this pump. I don't think we've got the right water pump. We'll know here in a few minutes, hopefully, when I get this thing out. Did not need to take the alternator off, but for video purposes, I thought it would make it where I could see things a lot easier. And since I haven't done one of these, I just wanted to get it out of the way because it's pretty easy to get out for the most part. This thing has got hoses zigzagging every damn where. I mean, these things are a mess. So, anywho, we're making some progress. I'm figuring some shit out, and hopefully we'll get this thing done soon. This one has this this charge pipe. It's right there, that silver pipe going into the water pump. There's a 10 millimeter right there. Goes into the head, or then the thing's supposed to just slide out. Well, it don't want to slide out. Just like the frickin' pipe don't want to slide off the damn thermostat. These things are a joke, man. All right, we've got the right water pump thermostat now. You can see the one we had earlier that the customer brought had a nipple off here like this one, and it just wasn't right. And it did not have this sensor. See the black sensor there? Goes all the way through there. Or it's a valve or something. I don't even know what it is. Connections there. Yeah. And the thermostat housing was wrong. We got the right thermostat now. There's the intercooler for the driver's side. We got the right thermostat. And there's the sensor. Okay, so we're going to dive back in and get some lights in here and try to clean up our gasket surfaces. We also got a new belt tensioner. I'm not sure where I put that thing. It's in the box. Got a new belt tensioner. Comes with a pin, because these things come with a tension already on them, and you just pull the pin out. You take a little tension off and then pull the pin. So we're gonna put a new tensioner on, because that one felt a little notchy, and man, they're so hard to get to. Everything's so hard to get to on this car. Had him go ahead and he had a Dayco belt. I'm not gonna say anything bad about them, but I've had some squealing problems out of those belts before, back in the day when I had my shop. It said it was a quiet version or something on the package, but I went ahead and had him get a factory belt. So we got, he went to the dealer, got a water pump, got a belt. Got a water pump, got a belt, I got the thermostat, housing, sensor, wherever that sensor goes to. I'm not even sure what that sensor goes to yet. I gotta look. And the tensioner. So, and he bought some K&N air filters for it. We're gonna pop those in, and we've got some my oh so favorite Bosch spark plugs. So once I get the water pump and stuff back on, the alternator back on, and I'm probably gonna fire it up, make sure everything works, then I'm gonna do the, well, I don't know, I may not. I may go ahead and do the spark plugs and then finish it off, because I'm kind of halfway there, I guess. I don't know, I really don't think any of that interferes with the spark plug job. No, I may go ahead and button all that back up, and then we'll take this stuff off, to get to, I believe the air cleaners are under there. And then the spark plugs will go down through the heads. Go ahead and do those after we get through all this water pump stuff. All right, I'm gonna get some fans turned on in here. It's getting hot already. It's 85. It'll probably be 100 degrees in here in the next couple hours, and hopefully I can get some good headway before the heat comes in. 'Cause, man, it's been getting brutal. It's only supposed to be 92 outside today, but it was 90 supposedly yesterday, but it was 100 in here. You'd have to go outside to catch some relief. All the fans go and all the doors open. You couldn't even breathe in here after about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's just brutal. Bring on fall. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for some cold air. All right, let's get to work. Okay, so I've gotten in there and just cleaned up my gasket materials a little bit. I'll just show you a little trick that I did. You don't want to use any sharp, you don't want to use razor blades in there on that aluminum surface where the water pump mounts. It's an O-ring surface. You see on the back side of this new water pump, it's O-ringed, so it's going to seal pretty good. I'm just going to put a light coat of grease on that. I'm not going to put any sealer on that. There was very little material left on the block. You can barely see down in there. I've got some lights down in there trying to help shine a light on the situation. So I took this piece of Scotch-Brite and I took a big piece and just cut a bunch of little squares out of it. So you just go in and lightly clean your surface like that. I did spray it all down with brake clean beforehand, and I didn't have my headlamp on. Spray some brake clean down in there and cleaned it all off with a rag first, and then went in with a little Scotch-Brite pad and just my fingertip. It's tedious, but there really wasn't a whole lot of material there because it's O-ring, so there's a little bit of rubber here and there, and the old O-ring stuck. Not a big deal. Got that cleaned up. Now we're going to prep the water pump for installation. All right, got the water pump in. Grease off the pulley there. Got the thermostat in. Got it all plugged up. Lubed my seals. I'll lube the O-ring and the hose and the outside of the thermostat housing, so that slides on nice and easy. It was such a fight getting it off. Popped right on like greased butter. Did the same thing here and to the metal pipe down there, but I haven't popped them on yet because I'm about to put this tensioner on. This thing has a slot in it in the top, and it goes into a recessed groove. It's kind of like that. It just sits right in. Slide the bolt in, tighten that down, leave the pin in it, of course, until you get ready to put your alternator and your belt and all that stuff back on. So we're going to go ahead and install this and get my hoses on, get my belt routed, get the alternator popped back on, which is just, set it back down with the 4 bolts and put the brackets and stuff back on. I have to get a couple hose clamps for some of these factory style clamps that we had to cut off, basically. These kind of clamps here, these little factory pinch clamps or whatever you call them. All right, we'll get all that buttoned up. Okay, so the alternator's on, the tensioner's on down there. Of course, the water pump's on, all the lines are on. I got to tighten that clamp right there. I'm just working my way up. I'm going to tighten that clamp, and then I'm going to put the belt on, and then I can start putting the intercooler back in on this side. Okay, we're getting close to excuse me, being back together here. We got to put some covers back on. I did take the bolts out of this plate, so I could move this. I mean, this thing, you got to take a million things apart to get this bar out of here. I never got it out. I just got it loose where I could get this tank back in, because I put the brackets back down on the alternator, which holds this tank. And if you were just to slide this tank back, it hits this bar, which is held under the hood latches, which is you got to take a million things off. I got to put that back in. But anyway, so when I put the alternator back on, I put all that back on because you had to put the belt on and the tensioner. So I had to put the tank on last, and there just wasn't enough room with this bar, so it gave me just enough wiggle room to slide it in. Just a little tip: you don't have to take this alternator and these brackets off, but it sure does free up some working room. But you got to unplug both the batteries, because if you just unplug that battery, it's still going to be hot at your lead to the alternator, okay? And you will throw some sparks. Ask me how I know. I thought just unhooking that battery would allow me, and I should have tested for power, but I didn't because I'm a dummy. It would allow me to take that alternator out. Well, that wasn't the case. So there's another main battery, I think, in the trunk or something. So anyway, I'm trying to think of any other tips. I went and bought some. We had to cut these clamps off, so these turbo hoses. So we're about to clamp those down. We're gonna put a little coolant in it, and we're gonna fire it up and see if she runs and doesn't leak. And then I'm doing spark plugs in the next video. All right, I've got it all buttoned back up, filled the antifreeze through both of these containers, and it's full. I fired it up. It's running fine. I'll get the covers back on. It's not, they're laying right over there in my pile of parts. Multiple car part pile. But I'll get the cover put back on, no big deal. That'll wrap up this one. This job is not an easy job. It's really not. It's something you can do if you really want to do it. But if you have the means to pay somebody to do it, I would. It's a pain in the ass. But it's doable, but it's going to take some patience. Let me tell you, that belt tensioner is probably the hardest freaking part of the dang job. And getting the hoses off the water pump. These were stuck on like crazy. Lube all your O-rings when you put it back together with some Vaseline. So get you a big tub of Vaseline, or what I use is trans jelly, which is the same thing. It's just Vaseline. What else? I think that's about it. Just gonna wrap this one up. I appreciate you hanging out, watching. Hopefully you learned something. I've learned something. I don't like working on these cars. I already knew that. That was not something I learned. I already knew that. But you know, you got to do what you got to do. And if you've got one of these things and you're mechanically inclined, good luck. No, you can do it. It's not easy though. I'm not gonna lie. The main thing I didn't do was take this out first. This is the first thing you should take out. It's this intercooler, then the tank. I took the alternator out. I took the tank out first, then the alternator. That did allow me to see in there, but wasn't necessary to take out. So you can leave it in or take it out. Just be careful with that battery cable. All right, hit that subscribe button please down in the corner right on the screen. Give it a little tap. It's free. And give the videos a thumbs up if you would. Appreciate you watching. Catch me in the next one. Peace.